If you are reading these words at this precise moment, understand that this is no coincidence. You have not stumbled upon this message by chance or idle curiosity. The invisible hand of divine providence has guided your eyes to these words, because your millionaire awakening has begun. There are no accidents in the realm of spirit, no random encounters in the kingdom of divine law. Every step that brought you here, every detour that seemed to delay you, every disappointment that made you question your path, has been carefully orchestrated to deliver you to this exact moment, to this divine appointment with your wealth destiny. I speak not to the casual observer who glances at truth and walks away unchanged. I speak not to the doubter who seeks to find fault with divine law. I speak not to the scoffer who mocks what they do not understand. No. This message carries a frequency that only resonates with souls who have been marked from the foundation of the world, to rise into extraordinary wealth, to step into divine abundance, to inherit riches that have been prepared for them since before time began. You feel it even now, don't you? That stirring in your spirit, that quickening in your heart, that unmistakable knowing that these are not mere words but living truths, that pierce through every wall of limitation you have ever built around your financial destiny. This is the voice of your millionaire self, calling to you across the veil of illusion, beckoning you to remember who you truly are, urging you to cast off the rags of poverty consciousness and clothe yourself in the royal garments of divine wealth. The world has whispered lies into your ears for far too long. Poisonous lies wrapped in the appearance of wisdom, bitter deceptions disguised as practical advice. They told you that wealth comes only through grinding toil, that abundance is reserved for the fortunate few, that you must crawl through years of struggle before you can taste even a morsel of prosperity. They painted pictures of limitation with such vivid detail that you began to believe them, to accept them, to live as though scarcity was your natural state, rather than the temporary illusion it has always been. But I declare to you by the authority of eternal law, by the power of divine decree, by the unbreakable promise of infinite supply, you were never meant to be poor. You were never designed to struggle. You were never created to live beneath the royal station that heaven itself has assigned to you. Every moment you have spent in lack, every day you have wrestled with financial fear, every night you have laid your head upon the pillow, wondering how the bills would be paid, has been nothing more than a bad dream from which you are now awakening. Listen closely, for this is the fundamental truth that will shatter every chain of limitation. Your wealth already exists, not in some distant future when you have proven yourself worthy, not in some far-off day when circumstances align perfectly, not when you have accumulated enough good deeds or suffered enough hardship to earn divine favor. Your wealth exists now, complete and perfect in the invisible realm of spirit, waiting only for your recognition to call it forth into visible manifestation. In divine mind, there is no poverty. In the kingdom of heaven, there is no lack. In the infinite storehouse of the universe, there is no scarcity. These are concepts that exist only in human consciousness, shadows cast by false beliefs, mirages that disappear the moment you stop believing in them and start decreeing the truth of your divine inheritance. You are permanently funded by the universe itself. You are eternally backed by the infinite bank of divine supply. You are continuously supported by resources that cannot be depleted, channels that cannot be closed, streams of provision that flow from the very heart of creation itself. This is not metaphor. This is not poetry. This is spiritual law as exact and reliable as any physical law you have ever known. The richest person who has ever walked this earth possessed not one fraction of the wealth that is yours by divine right. The most successful business empire ever built is but a pale shadow of the riches that flow through you when you align with your true spiritual nature. The greatest fortune ever amassed is nothing compared to the infinite inheritance that bears your name in the cosmic records of heaven. Yet you have been taught to doubt this truth, to question your worthiness, to believe that abundance belongs to others, while you must content yourself with whatever scraps fall from their table. You have been programmed to see yourself as separate from wealth, disconnected from supply, isolated from the very abundance that is your spiritual DNA. This programming begins to dissolve the moment you speak with divine authority. This illusion crumbles the instant you decree your wealth as present reality. These chains of limitation snap when you command them to release you in the name of spiritual law. Your subconscious mind, that faithful but impressionable servant, has been taking orders from the wrong master. It has been building your outer world according to inner images of lack, creating circumstances that match your spoken words of limitation, manifesting experiences that reflect your deepest beliefs about money and worthiness. But this same subconscious, this same creative power that has been working against you, can be transformed into your greatest ally in the manifestation of wealth. When you speak with unwavering conviction, "I am wealthy now, my supply is unlimited, my fortune is secured by divine law," your subconscious mind immediately begins to rearrange the invisible substance of your life. It starts to attract opportunities that align with wealth, to recognize channels of supply that were always present but unnoticed, to magnetize people and circumstances that support your millionaire destiny. But you must speak these words not as hopes or wishes, or desperate pleas to an indifferent universe. You must speak them as one who knows their divine authority, as one who understands their spiritual power, as one who recognizes their unbreakable connection to infinite supply. You must speak them as decrees that heaven itself has authorized, as commands that the universe cannot refuse, as truths that are already established in the realm of spirit. The beggar speaks from neediness and receives according to his words. The millionaire speaks from fullness and manifests according to his decree. The difference is not in their circumstances, but in their consciousness, not in their external conditions, but in their internal conviction, not in what they see with their eyes, but in what they know with their spirit. Therefore, I give you now the first great law of wealth manifestation. Thou shalt decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee. This is not suggestion. This is divine promise. This is spiritual law. When you speak wealth as your present reality, when you declare abundance as your natural state, when you command prosperity to manifest in your life, the invisible forces of creation move to fulfill your word. But understanding this law intellectually is not enough. You must activate it through spoken decree. You must energize it through consistent repetition. You must make it real through unwavering faith. Let these words become the rhythm of your breathing, the pulse of your heart, the constant declaration of your lips. Large sums of money come to me now under grace in perfect ways. Divine channels of supply are permanently open. My millionaire destiny is sealed and manifests visibly today. Speak these words when you wake, when you walk, when you work, when you rest. Speak them when bills arrive, when challenges appear, when doubt whispers in your ear. Speak them not as one hoping they might be true, but as one knowing they cannot be false. For you are not trying to become wealthy. You are recognizing the wealth that has always been yours. Now, let me tell you about the invisible millionaire that lives within you. Beneath every thought of limitation, underneath every feeling of lack, beyond every appearance of scarcity, there exists your true self, the spiritual being who has never known poverty, who has never experienced want, who has always walked in the palace of abundance. This is not some future version of yourself that you must strive to become. This is who you are right now, in this very moment, in the deepest reality of your being. The world sees only the surface, only the temporary conditions, only the passing shadows of circumstances. But heaven sees the eternal truth, the unchanging reality, the perfect spiritual identity that is clothed in riches, crowned with success, surrounded by infinite supply. And what heaven sees is more real than what human eyes perceive, more true than what human minds conceive, more permanent than what human hands can touch. This invisible millionaire within you needs no permission to be wealthy, requires no approval to prosper, seeks no qualification to receive abundance. For spiritual identity is not earned through struggle or acquired through effort. It is revealed through recognition, activated through decree, manifested through faith. Every time you say, "I cannot afford it," you deny this millionaire self. Every time you worry about money, you veil this abundant identity. Every time you speak limitation, you create a fog around the riches that are already yours. But every time you declare, "My supply is unlimited," you unveil your true wealth. Every time you affirm, "I am rich in every good thing," you clear the fog and let your abundance shine forth. Every time you decree, "Money flows to me effortlessly and endlessly," you step into the identity that has been waiting for your acknowledgement. The awakening of this millionaire consciousness is not a gradual process that takes years to complete. It is an instant recognition, a sudden remembering, a moment of divine revelation when you see yourself as heaven sees you and refuse to accept any lesser vision. The moment you truly know, not hope, not believe, but know that you are wealthy in spirit, your outer world begins its transformation to match that inner knowing. I have witnessed souls shift from poverty to prosperity overnight when this recognition dawned upon them. I have seen people who had struggled for decades suddenly find themselves surrounded by opportunities, offers, and advantages they had never imagined. I have watched as channels of supply that had been closed for years burst open like dam walls, releasing torrents of water, pouring wealth into lives that had known only lack. This transformation always begins with a change in speech, a shift in the words that flow from their lips, a new authority in their voice. When they speak about money and success, they stop saying, "I am trying to get rich," and start saying, "I am rich now." They stop declaring, "I hope things will improve," and start affirming, "Everything in my life is perfect and getting better." They stop pleading, "Please let money come to me," and start commanding, "Money flows to me now in avalanches of abundance." The universe responds not to need, but to decree. Not to desperation but to declaration, not to begging but to believing. When you speak from the consciousness of wealth, wealth has no choice but to respond. When you command from the throne of spiritual authority, abundance must bow in obedience. When you decree from the certainty of divine law, prosperity becomes inevitable. But you must be willing to speak these words, even when your bank account shows a different story. You must be prepared to declare your wealth, even when bills are stacking up. You must have the courage to affirm your abundance, even when others question your sanity. For appearances are temporary, but spiritual law is eternal. Circumstances are changeable, but divine decree is unchangeable. This is where most people fail in their attempt to manifest wealth. They speak the words of prosperity when they feel prosperous, when things are going well, when evidence supports their claims. But the moment challenges arise, the instant obstacles appear, the second doubt creeps in, they abandon their wealth consciousness and return to the language of limitation. True wealth consciousness speaks abundance in the face of lack, declares prosperity in the midst of challenge, affirms riches when surrounded by poverty. It is not moved by temporary conditions because it is rooted in eternal law. It is not shaken by passing storms because it is anchored in unchanging truth. Therefore, I charge you with this sacred responsibility. From this moment forward, let no word of lack proceed from your mouth. Let no declaration of limitation leave your lips. Let no confession of poverty escape your voice. Instead, let every word you speak about money be a word of abundance. Let every statement you make about your finances be a statement of prosperity. Let every decree you utter about your future be a decree of wealth. When someone asks how you are doing financially, do not rehearse your struggles or recite your problems. Instead, say with conviction, I am blessed and highly favored. Money flows to me from multiple sources. My financial future is secure and bright. When faced with an unexpected expense, do not panic or complain. Instead, declare with authority. Divine supply meets every need instantly and perfectly. I have access to unlimited resources. This is not positive thinking. This is not wishful hoping. This is not denial of reality. This is the recognition of a higher reality, the acknowledgement of spiritual law, the activation of divine power through spoken word. You are not trying to convince yourself that you are rich when you are poor. You are awakening to the truth that you are rich in spirit and calling that richness into visible manifestation. The law of spoken word is as exact as any scientific principle. It operates whether you understand it or not, whether you believe it or not, whether you acknowledge it or not. Your words are seeds planted in the fertile soil of universal consciousness. What you speak consistently, you will surely reap abundantly. What you decree with faith, you will receive in manifestation. What you command with authority, you will see in demonstration. But like any law, it operates impartially. It responds to negative words as readily as positive ones, to declarations of lack as quickly as affirmations of abundance, to commands of failure as surely as decrees of success. This is why vigilance over your speech is so crucial. Every word is a prayer, every statement a spell, every declaration a divine order being placed with the universe. Consider the wealthy individuals you know or have observed. Listen carefully to how they speak about money. They never say, I can't afford it. They might say, I choose not to spend money on that right now. They never declare, I am broke. They might say, I am temporarily between investments. They never affirm, money is hard to come by. They know that money flows abundantly to those who speak its language fluently. Their words assume abundance, presuppose prosperity, take wealth for granted. Not because they have money, but because their wealthy speech is what created their money in the first place. They became rich in consciousness before they became rich in circumstances. They spoke wealth before they saw wealth. They decreed abundance before they experienced abundance. This same pattern must become your pattern. This same consciousness must become your consciousness. This same authority must become your authority. You must begin speaking like a millionaire now. While you are building your fortune, while the evidence is still invisible, while others might question your sanity. For your speech is not describing your reality, it is creating your reality. Your words are not reporting your circumstances, they are commanding your circumstances. Your declarations are not reflecting your conditions, they are directing your conditions. The moment you truly grasp this truth, the moment you fully embrace this power, the moment you completely accept this responsibility, your financial world begins its inevitable transformation. Opportunities that were invisible become visible. Resources that were unavailable become available. Channels that were closed begin to open. And wealth that existed only in potential begins to manifest in form. Now let me share with you the secret of accelerated manifestation. The hidden key that can compress years of gradual progress into months of dramatic breakthrough. This secret is known by every person who has built massive wealth quickly, though most of them practice it unconsciously, without understanding the spiritual law that makes it work. The secret is this assumption of the wish fulfilled. Not hoping for wealth, not working toward wealth, not planning for wealth, but assuming wealth as your present reality. Living from the consciousness of already having what you desire rather than from the consciousness of needing to get what you desire. When you assume wealth consciousness, you automatically begin to think like a wealthy person, speak like a wealthy person, act like a wealthy person, and attract the experiences of a wealthy person. Your subconscious mind, which cannot distinguish between imagined and actual experience, begins to create conditions that match your assumption. But assumption is not mere pretense. It is not acting as if you are wealthy, while secretly believing you are poor. True assumption is a shift in identity, a change in self-concept, a transformation of how you see yourself at the deepest level of your being. It is the recognition that wealth is not something you have, but something you are. Not a condition you achieve but a nature you express. Not a goal you reach but a reality you inhabit. To assume wealth consciousness, you must begin to see money not as something separate from yourself that you must chase, attract, or earn, but as something that flows through you, as naturally as blood flows through your veins. You must begin to view abundance, not as a limited resource that you must compete for, but as an unlimited source that you are connected to at all times. This assumption changes everything. It changes how you walk into a room, how you speak to people, how you make decisions, how you view opportunities. It changes your energy, your vibration, your magnetic field. And as these internal changes occur, external changes follow automatically, inevitably, unstoppably. People begin to treat you differently, though they may not understand why. Opportunities begin to present themselves more frequently, though you are doing nothing different externally. Money begins to flow more easily, though you have changed no practical aspects of your work or business. This is the power of assumption in operation. But assumption must be maintained consistently. It must be renewed daily, reinforced hourly, strengthened with every breath. The moment you drop back into poverty consciousness, the moment you return to lack thinking, the moment you resume limitation speaking, you break the spell of assumption and slow the manifestation process. This is why I give you now a daily practice that will embed wealth consciousness so deeply into your subconscious that it becomes your natural, automatic, effortless way of being. This practice has transformed more lives, created more millionaires, and produced more miracles than any other spiritual exercise I have ever taught. Upon awakening each morning, before your feet touch the floor, before your mind fills with the concerns of the day, before you check your phone or speak to another human being, spend 5 minutes in pure wealth consciousness. Lie in your bed and feel what it would feel like to be completely financially free. Imagine what it would be like to have unlimited resources at your disposal. Visualize what your life would look like if money were never again a concern. Make this feeling as real as possible. Engage all your senses. See the abundance around you. Hear the sounds of prosperity. Feel the textures of wealth. Smell the fragrances of success. Taste the sweetness of financial freedom. Let this imagined experience become so vivid, so compelling, so real that your nervous system cannot distinguish it from actual experience. Then, from this state of wealth consciousness, speak these words with absolute conviction. I give thanks that I am wealthy now. I give thanks that money flows to me in perfect ways. I give thanks that my supply is unlimited and immediate. I give thanks that my millionaire destiny is manifesting today. Notice that these are not requests but acknowledgements, not pleas but thanksgivings, not hopes but certainties. Gratitude assumes receipt. When you give thanks for your wealth before you see it, you activate the law of manifestation at its highest level. Continue this practice every morning without exception. Let it become as automatic as brushing your teeth, as natural as breathing, as essential as eating. For this daily assumption of wealth consciousness is the soil in which your fortune grows, the foundation upon which your abundance is built, the key that unlocks every door of prosperity. But morning practice alone, though powerful, is not sufficient. You must carry this consciousness throughout the day, reinforcing it with every word you speak, every thought you think, every action you take. You must become a living embodiment of wealth consciousness, a walking demonstration of abundance, a visible proof that prosperity is possible. This means speaking only words that support your wealthy identity. When asked about your finances, respond from wealth consciousness. I am blessed and prosperous. Money comes to me easily and often. My financial future is bright and secure. When faced with an expense, declare from abundance. I have access to all the money I need. Divine supply provides for every requirement perfectly. This means thinking only thoughts that align with your millionaire destiny. Instead of worrying about bills, imagine them being paid effortlessly. Instead of fearing lack, anticipate abundance. Instead of dwelling on current limitations, focus on unlimited possibilities. Your thoughts are the substance from which your experiences are formed. Think wealthy thoughts, and wealthy experiences must follow. This means taking actions that reflect your abundant nature. Walk with confidence, speak with authority. Make decisions from strength rather than fear. Dress well within your means, maintain your appearance. Carry yourself like someone who expects good things to happen. These external expressions reinforce internal beliefs and create a magnetic field that attracts prosperity. As you consistently practice wealth consciousness, as you steadily maintain abundance thinking, as you continuously speak millionaire language, something extraordinary begins to happen. Your entire energy field shifts. Your vibration changes. Your magnetic attraction to money and opportunity increases exponentially. People begin to see you differently. They sense something changed about you, though they cannot put their finger on exactly what it is. There is a new authority in your voice, a new confidence in your manner, a new expectancy in your attitude. And this new energy attracts new opportunities, new connections, new possibilities for wealth creation. Opportunities that would have passed you by in your former consciousness now stop and present themselves. People who would have overlooked you in your former state now notice and remember you. Ideas that would have remained dormant in your former thinking now spring to life with creative potential. Doors that would have remained closed in your former assumption now swing wide open. This is not magic, though it may seem magical. This is not luck, though others may call it lucky. This is spiritual law in operation, divine principle in manifestation, universal force responding to conscious direction. You have not changed the world. You have changed your consciousness. And as your consciousness changes, your world changes to match it. The wealthy understand this principle intuitively, even if they cannot explain it intellectually. They know that confidence attracts success, that certainty creates opportunity, that wealth consciousness manifests wealth conditions. They may attribute their success to hard work, good timing, or superior strategy, but underneath all external factors is this fundamental truth: they think, speak, and act from abundance. And abundance responds by manifesting in their experience. You can accelerate this process by studying the wealthy, not just their methods but their mentality, not just their strategies but their speech patterns, not just their actions but their assumptions. How do they think about money? How do they speak about opportunity? How do they view challenges? How do they respond to setbacks? You will discover that they assume success rather than hoping for it, expect prosperity rather than wishing for it, take abundance for granted rather than treating it as a special blessing. This is not arrogance. This is alignment with spiritual law. This is not presumption. This is recognition of divine inheritance. As you align your consciousness with theirs, as you adopt their assumptions and adapt their attitudes, as you speak their language and share their certainty, you begin to attract their results. Not by copying their external actions, but by matching their internal vibration. Not by imitating their business methods, but by embodying their wealth consciousness. Remember, wealth is not primarily about money. Money is simply the physical representation of wealth. True wealth is consciousness, Vibration energy. Magnetic attraction to all forms of abundance. When you possess wealth consciousness, money is just one of many forms of abundance that flows into your life. You also attract opportunities, relationships, ideas, resources, advantages, and blessings of every kind. But when you lack wealth consciousness, even if money comes to you temporarily through lottery, inheritance, or other means, it tends to slip away because your consciousness is not equipped to maintain it. This is why so many lottery winners lose their fortunes within a few years. They gained money without gaining wealth consciousness, so the money could not remain. Conversely, when you develop true wealth consciousness, even if you lose money temporarily through economic downturns, business failures, or other circumstances, you quickly rebuild and often surpass your former level of prosperity. Because wealth consciousness inevitably creates wealth conditions, regardless of external circumstances. This is your goal, not just to make money, but to become wealthy in consciousness. Not just to have abundance, but to be abundance. Not just to attract prosperity, but to embody prosperity. When you achieve this internal transformation, external transformation becomes automatic, inevitable, unstoppable. The time for half measures is over. The season of gradual progress is ending. The hour of quantum breakthrough has arrived. You have been called to this message, guided to this truth, appointed to this moment, because your rapid ascension into millionaire consciousness is not only possible but inevitable. Your wealth is not coming. Your wealth is here. Your abundance is not approaching. Your abundance surrounds you now. Your millionaire destiny is not in your future. Your millionaire destiny is your present reality, waiting only for your recognition to make it visible, your decree to make it manifest, your assumption to make it permanent. Speak these words now with all the authority of divine law, with all the power of spiritual truth, with all the certainty of your millionaire identity. I am wealthy now. My supply is unlimited. My fortune is secured. Money flows to me under grace in perfect ways. My millionaire destiny is sealed and manifesting today. This is my decree, and it cannot be revoked. As you speak these words, feel them resonate through every cell of your body, every corner of your consciousness, every aspect of your being. Let them become your truth, your reality, your lived experience. For in the realm of spirit, where all manifestation begins, these words are already fulfilled. Your only task is to align your consciousness with this spiritual reality and watch as it unfolds in your physical experience. The universe is responding even now. Invisible forces are moving on your behalf. Channels of supply are opening. Opportunities are shifting into position. Your millionaire life is beginning to take shape in the unseen, preparing to emerge into the scene with power, with glory, with abundance beyond your wildest imagination. Your transformation is not someday. Your breakthrough is not tomorrow. Your wealth is not next year. Everything changes now. In this moment, with these words, through this recognition, by this decree. You are no longer the person who began reading this message. You are awakened, activated, appointed to prosperity that knows no limits, abundance that knows no end, wealth that knows no boundaries. Welcome to your millionaire destiny. Welcome to your abundant life. Welcome to the riches that have always been yours, are yours now, and shall be yours forever. Speak it, believe it, live it, and watch as heaven and earth move to fulfill every word that proceeds from your lips with faith. Your wealthy life begins now.